Welcome to the golden age of trade, my friends. Today we have the most in-depth guide, I promise you, and how to hit the top 1%, maximizing your score here today. So thank you for tuning in. As always, down below in the timestamps, we'll cover a lot of the key tips and tricks, followed by a breakdown of the event, how you can prepare for the event, and while the event is going on, continue to do so. Prioritization, yes, that is very key on how you handle your inventory, the goods that your kingdom's producing, and all those fun things. Additionally, an unlimited ability to donate, followed by a key tip and trick there, and when to burst. So those are very, very important things here, all for the golden age of trade and how to hit the top 1%. I think it's certainly easier than many of us think, and it is achievable and doable by you as well. And additionally, one of the nice things about this particular event is doesn't matter on the level of your cookies, and certainly many of us do make that investment into our amazing kingdoms, and we can take advantage of these things here. Even though mine looks a little sloppy and messy, I'm sure yours looks much more beautiful than mine, and let me know in the comments as always. So again, thank you for tuning in. We got a lot to cover in this extraordinarily in-depth guide here today. Questions, comments throughout, do let me know, because I love to hear from you, and feel free to swing by the Discord server. All right, so the first piece here that I talked about, we're going to break down this particular event, Golden Age of Trade. So the first piece is trade goods by sea, railroad, or birds. And I like to say this because a lot of people forget that you can use all three of these things to maximize your score. Now, a big piece of this as well, in terms of ranking, at least right now, in order to hit the top 1%, it's a 7-day event. Right now, you only need 800,000 in order to do that. That is absolutely achievable, and we'll talk about that here and how you do that, and then when to maximize and burst and other strategies like that to help you be successful throughout this event. Now, the other piece that is very, very important as part of the golden age of trade, on top of that, you get some amazing rewards, so don't forget about that. We love the crystals, we love the rainbow cubes, so take huge advantage of these things and the investment that you've been making. And on top of that, you're still getting stuff too by bursting in the trades for these particular events, which I think runs on about a roughly 23 to 30 day cycle as well. In this particular event. Now, the other thing is the points. You absolutely want to be aware of what goods are the most important goods for you to trade in. And right here is our friend, the party cake. That is right. So obviously the things that take more input give you a higher value. They also take more time in order to get there, and how to do that. And again, about trade points, trade materials and goods at the train station, Tree of Wishes, Trade Harbor, and Seaside Market. Key. Don't forget that one, the Seaside Market, because a lot of people do it to earn trade points. Now, again, trading items down below here is going to help you maximize that score. Again, easily doable. We're only two days in really right now, and I currently have, in terms of my points, as you can see here, 400,000. We can absolutely get to the top 1%. We're going to talk about that here today because I think anyone can do that. Free to play players, all those fun things. This is a great event for you to maximize. So that is the breakdown of this particular event. And quickly here, just so that you know, if you're a returning player or a new player, the first piece here is obviously Tuke's Trade Harbor. Again, that second one is the Seaside Market. A lot of people, like I said, forget about this particular one. Oops. In terms of being able to maximize those scores, so don't forget about that, like we just talked about. Additionally, here we have our train station, so train station right here as well. And then the other one, lastly here for those birds, is the Tree of Wishes. So these are the 4 areas that you're going to use to donate your goods and improve your trade score and ultimately get that top 1%. Now, next, we have participation and preparation. So we talked a little bit about the places that you are going to go in order to achieve and donate, but the reality is every good person or every good cookie run kingdom builder will not only be prepared prior, because this is a reoccurring event, but also during some of the key tips and tricks that you can do. So the first thing that we want to talk about is obviously with one of the latest updates, and you can check this out here on my channel as well as I cover it, is the dashboard. At a certain level of research, you're going to be able to go ahead and get things like easy good collection. You'll also get this production dashboard right here that is going to absolutely allow you to produce things in a more efficient manner. So you want to absolutely make sure you take care of that. And then additionally, you can always work on upgrades like me. I still got quite a few to improve your time as well and output. So that's a big piece there for you to keep in mind. Now, when it comes to, again, this particular dashboard, you can see that I got some things already done. You can always make sure to collect like that. But the biggest piece, and that's the easy collection, I love it, it's amazing. The next piece to remember is just make sure you always have something being produced. You can always do the minimum piece. Produce all makes it so much easier right now. You can do longest production, shortest production, lowest quantity. Longest production is generally going to give you the best item to produce. So you can keep that in mind and continue to maximize those things. Here, I like to, as I pay attention, go with the middle one here. And then additionally, again, for my base materials. And then as I go down to some of these more complicated things, and again, our lovely candies, but we don't need those for this particular event, making sure we have at least something going here in terms of what you want to do. I have 619 of these already from the jewelry salon, something that you can obviously prepare for ahead of time, as you can see like me, and then continue to make sure that you have some things going on. Absolutely feel free to make that investment here to expanding in the productivity of what you can do with your different places like the dairy factory and those things. So again, here, I don't have something produced. It's one of the simple things that everyone can do with their kingdom in order to stay on top of the race here for this particular event. And then making sure that you come back and check. And again, making sure that you have a long enough runway. Here we go, another one that's open. A very simple thing that anyone can do in order to be successful in this particular event. All right, look at that. We'll keep those things going as well. And here real quick. All right, so we're through that piece. That is one of the biggest things that you can do, taking advantage of the research, the simple clicking, making sure that you have stuff going in there. And you don't need to do this during the event. You can do it well ahead of time. As you can see in my inventory and my storage, you can see a lot of those supplies already available to you. Ooh. Let's see, goods, there we go. A lot of the goods already available to you there in order to leverage for this particular event. And again, continuing to build out that storage so that you can save for these kinds of things as well. Obviously, if you run into things where you need to get rid of stuff, you can actually sell it here as well. So you can keep those things in mind if you need to get some of that storage space back. And then again, you can see some of those materials and those kinds of things that it takes in order to make those. A lot of people may try and sell these kinds of items here. You can see if you need gold, we got 5,000 wood. Generally, I stick to around 10,000. There's a reason I have less right now. We'll talk about that in a second. But again, if you need that storage space, you can absolutely sell and generate that income. My advice, though, is your base goods in the storage here you want to save, because you constantly want to keep building up for better quality items, better quality goods, and take advantage of those trade-ins. So those are all things that you can do to prepare. We talked about the buildings, we talked about the storage, we talked about the utilization ahead of time, and then obviously during the event, making sure that you continually, constantly build. Boom, there we go. We got some more. Let's get back in there and keep it going, my friends. We'll go to the dashboard, and that is exactly what you want to do. Now, obviously, you can keep doing these, the more higher quality items, depending on how often you're going to check in or play or whatever you got going on that day. And again, you can make those things bigger. Boom, there we go. So we covered in our preparation, again, storage, building, some of the research and other key items for you here to help you on your way for this particular event. The next thing, prioritization to max. What does that mean? What does that mean, Mythras? Well, here is what that means. The first thing that we saw and talked about here is again our points. So we covered that base material. It's only worth 1 point. Like I said, better off building up and creating a better quality good, trading up, trading for better points, those kinds of things as well. And then additionally, boom, the big winners here are party cake and all these other items here that you can produce that will give you a massive score. That is right. You want to prioritize your bigger items. And there's a couple of tricks to this. And those are the tricks that I'm going to talk through and additionally within this prioritization. So again, making these bigger end items here that do take a lot of time, again, this is preparation, are going to allow you to do a lot of really, really good things. So in my case, with my party cakes, I have 345 already. I have been doing this all the time. It's best practice here in CookieRun Kingdom, in my opinion, to continue to do this. Now, generally, I leverage it to trade in our lovely weekend events, and that's another thing we'll talk about here for the Tree of Wishes, and maximizing the additional rewards to get and collect these awesome reward items like Aurora Book, Compass, and everything else, which is again a big part of your strategy here, and we'll talk about that in a little bit around some of the bursting. Now, the big piece here as we go back to this event and we talk about our points is essentially this. Party cake. You can kind of already calculate your max capacity and your max score. I have 345 of these. If we take it and multiply it by the 14,000, it's roughly 5 million. I have 5 million points available to me sitting in storage. All I need to do is trade it. Well, you might be saying, well, hey, I can't just always trade these party cakes. That is true. And that comes into a second piece of our prioritization. But just knowing that, again, like I said, when we talk about the ranking, you can see the number one here, Kitty Invaders got 8 million. If I were to stack all my stuff in there already, I'd already be at the top 3. That's way better than the top 1%, and I can certainly get to the top 1% with this. And so part of it is making sure that you don't overproduce and over donate. And on top of that, it's again why we talk about some of the bursting and timing of this particular event. So in terms of prioritization, there's going to be 2 things. One, your time. The second one there is where exactly you're leveraging these materials, when and how. So the first one on your time that I like to suggest is every day, we'll go back to this, every day during the event, you are taking advantage of the event. If you do the bare minimum, which is participating in each of these things, which is the daily reward here in the Tree of Wishes, which is also going to be covered in other events, donating in the train station here as well, again, covered in other events, and then similar here in Took's Trade Harbor and leveraging your seaside market. All these things are going to give back to you during your time. And additionally, you'll continue to build out throughout each day and increase your status and improvement in your trade donation. Again, no matter where you're at, a newer player, a veteran player who's been playing for a long time, free to play, paid player, those are all key pieces. So the first thing there, again, as you can see, after 2 days of primarily just participating in what I would call that bare minimum, I am already halfway to certainly the top 5%, top 10%, but being in the top 1%. So just staying in the game and participating is going to be your first thing. The second thing in terms of prioritization is going to be the prioritization that we talked about of these points, where you can use them, how to use them, and those kinds of things. So the first thing that's going to happen here is when we go to our cargo load here, we're absolutely going to be able to place these in anytime that we want to with our party cake. So as you can see, there's that score, the 13,996 already. So you can absolutely dump your high-end stuff into the trade harbor. Obviously, it's capped. You're not going to be able to overproduce, but that is one strategy to think about. Now, if we were to go to the 50,000 here as well, you know, other strategies, as always, you could dump all these in here, but you're capped at those 50 points. Now, a point is a point is a point when it comes to the cargo load. The idea really, though, is you're going to want to overproduce in terms of these things. Do you lose some that you're giving, whereas we're giving 6,000 extra points? Absolutely. However, it's still going to count to your score. So that's the first piece. The second piece here is you might have high value items like our sweet berry juice here as well. That sweet berry juice is now worth 2 times. So if we go over here again and switch over to dock 2, you'll see that we have sweet berry juice right here, only worth 7,500. So it is worth the double pointers. If we go back, so here's the other thing to pay attention to. When we go to the event, we were at 14,6,391. So we're going to write that down real quick. 416,391. When we go back to the double advantage here and we go ahead and say, okay, 15, we need to add 15,140. We'll donate one of these right now. See if it gives us the 15 or if it's going to give us the 7. So we'll go back here and take advantage of our score and see what happens. Boom, 423. We are only gaining the 7. Bingo. So keep that in mind. That is very, very important for you in terms of this. You may be maximizing the trade, but you're undervaluing on what you're doing on the cargo. So that is very, very important. So again, in terms of prioritization, in this case, what you're actually going to want to do, now we've hurt ourselves a little bit, but you're going to want to load it with these. So we're going to max all the way out. That's going to give us the best score possible in Tukes Harbor and take advantage of our most expensive thing here if you need to. Otherwise, you will get the value of these, but you're not going to quite fully get the value of the points of the trade. So that is an enormous tip and trick for you so that you're aware of those points. Some things you're undervalued, overvalued in this particular thing. And again, we're capped. So you can at least do 8 of these a day and get that many points, which is huge. That's 100,000 right there each day. So we go back to our score. Here we go. Boom, 521 already. So just by participating that each day, prioritizing our highest ranked things, again, wrong one. Again, right here, you got 14,000 that you can do for 7 days at about that 50,000 and take massive advantage of those donations. Again, there's a combination there that you can certainly overproduce that we talked about and maximize in order to get the best score, but that is already going to get you there. So that is a huge tip for you and trick for you. And obviously we can collect all these other golden age of trade things here too. So that's the first one that I wanted to talk about in terms of prioritization. The next piece is certainly going to be here at the train station. At the train station, generally, you're going to have higher goods. Those goods will be higher point values for you as well. So you absolutely want to make sure that you take advantage of that, as really being the second one. So boom, there you go. We'll finish that one out. Now we do have quite a cooldown in terms of time before these reset. Good news is we are not capped. So don't forget to make sure that you're checking in here, constantly donating, try to keep a variety of items open. As you can see, it can be a challenge, but you do want to focus on making sure that you can donate those particular things. And then additionally, the third one in terms of prioritization will be your Tree of Wishes, because the Tree of Wishes does have a plethora of things. Now here we got a high value item. You might not always get those high value items. The good news about the Tree of Wishes as well is it continues to be reset. That is right. So because it can be reset, it gives you an advantage on those things. So which moves us in and is a good segue into our next piece here is our unlimited donations, essentially what I call the perpetual motion machine, which doesn't exist, but the reality is, or at least today, the reality is we do have a couple of those things available to us here. And by that I mean you can continue to donate and get a great score here in the golden age of trade. So in our case here, we'll just keep donating and take advantage of moving that score up here today. Obviously, I have a lot of stuff, but I am missing. I'm starting to get a little fatigued in some of the donations that I have. But another good tip for you here is if you can take advantage of the daily trades. So here I can't take advantage of that one or the 2x. Absolutely try at least fill it each day if you can. You absolutely should fill it on the weekend events when it's worth 2 to 3x as well, and take advantage of those things. All right, let's see. We'll keep going until we're capped out here. And keeping a healthy blend of materials is going to allow you to do this. The good news is it's still giving you gold. It's still giving you kingdom experience. And you're taking advantage of a lot of other events that are running in parallel as well in order to fill out the Tree of Wishes. All right, we'll keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going. We're almost there. We'll take this. We'll see if we can make it. It's gonna be close. All right. 2 more. We're gonna get it. Here it is. Nice. So again, in terms of this ability to keep going, this is going to be one of the key levers for you in order to continue to boost your score. You can keep doing this past. You're still going to get the items, but I would recommend just doing it daily, at least at the start for now. If you're going to try and maximize it, do it on the 2x or 3x event. That's one time, and that's one trick there for you. So, okay, so we're out. There we go. Wow, that's a lot. So that's the first one in terms of our continue unlimited donations. The second one is the train station. The third one here is what I call more that perpetual motion machine that people forget about here, is the seaside market. So in terms of seaside market, we can trade lower level goods up for higher level goods and make use of that. And then you can trade those higher level goods for another level good. So you're getting more points by doing that, which is absolutely positively amazing as always. Now, in our case here, I've already gone through and used them because I really like using the seaside market a lot and taking advantage of this a lot. However, you can always restock here. You can refresh if you need to. I don't recommend that necessarily because obviously it's going to cost us, but if you need to, that's one way to do it. And this ultimately, in my opinion, is kind of your perpetual motion machine because you just keep trading up and you can retrade those goods. Now, again, at a baseline level, you absolutely need to make sure that your kingdom is continuing to produce items. So let's go ahead and collect those and take advantage of that. And again, as we've been making this video, you can see lots of baseline goods that you can continue to produce. And again, certainly the easy one is lowest quantity and storage first or shortest production, and just keep clicking, keep going in terms of those things. So now we've talked about the unlimited donations. Now what we want to talk about is boosters. This is a huge piece and a good trick for you that I use all the time for the Tree of Wishes at a minimum, which are these things, the speed ups. You're going to have a ton of these speed ups probably already, depending on how you play and depending on how you use them. I like to use them for bursting on the weekends when I need to close out our daily event for the 2-3x stuff, as always, because I like to do that. That's one trick that I use in order to leverage these things. Certainly you can use them for a host of other things. The other one that's really nice is when you are looking for a particular good here in the train station, you can do that. You can also burst your train. However, it can get very expensive. So those are a couple things to keep in mind. I think leveraging them that here is going to be the best way to prioritize those things. You don't gain, so you want to make sure that you're using exactly 6. Don't overspend. You're not gaining advantage on that. And those are some other key tips and tricks in there. Now, again, you're going to get these and have them in your storage rarities. Let's see, miscellaneous, available items, supplies. Where are you? There we are in the supplies, so you can see exactly where they are. Now, you get a ton of these things from different events, from trade-ins. Again, perpetual motion machine, as think about in the C market. You're going to get rewards here as well from our Fountain of Abundance and gain a lot of things that way, and obviously other events. So it's good to stockpile those depending on how you want to play, save them, those kinds of things, and take advantage of them for the golden age of trade. All right. Excuse me. That's a good one there, my friend. The very, very last thing. When do you burst? That is correct. So the first thing that we talked about is making sure that you just kind of play throughout, making sure that you take advantage and maximize the points, maximize the events on the day-to-day basis, and hang in there. Why do you do that? Making a little bit of an investment every day is going to be better, and you can spread it out. However, the best time to burst is actually two places. The first place is going to be on the weekend when you get that 2-3x there on the Tree of Wishes, because that's going to be the most repeatable event for you and one for you to dump a lot of your goods into. That is a first one. The second one is towards the end, definitely probably within the last few hours. And why is that? Well, first off, because it's going to be the ranking. The key piece here with the ranking, and see we're already moved up to about the top 3% after just doing a few basic things here for the day and continuing to produce. If I would have been maximizing each day here, I certainly would have already been in the top 1%. So a couple things here. You're going to burst then and then at the end. Why at the end? Well, here is why at the end. You really don't have to over donate. You just have to donate more than the other people. So by being able to watch the ranking, you're going to have a good sense of what you need to do. Right now, we're at about 800,000. Like I talked about, if everyone takes part in the strategy that I have just provided, they're probably on average going to be doing about 150 to 200,000 a day, which is exactly a little bit higher than what we're seeing already, but in the top 5%, it's going to put you in that space. So if you're doing a little bit more over donation and kind of some of the things I talked about in that 2-burst strategy, you're probably going to be closer up to here, or if you're already bursting. And obviously, again, we can see the top end players here, the top 10, really in that 2 million space already. So figure 4 days, if they're at 2 million, so about 1 million a day, they're probably going to be close to that 5 to 7 million when it gets to the end. Again, everyone can be able to do that. And like I said, all these things are achievable by just kind of staying on the day-over-day basis and taking advantage of a couple of those things. Now, again, I bring this up because you don't need to overproduce. You just need to produce more than the other people below you. And by doing that is keeping an eye on these rewards and these scores to hit the top 1%. So that is the key. 2 burstings, the first one taking advantage of the 2x, 3x event in terms of on the weekends and making sure that you're maximizing here on your Tree of Wishes. The other ones that you want to just do, you can certainly continue to burst in those other areas, but I like to wait on those resets. This one's a good one to burst and use your boosters. And then the last one being right at towards that end. I would probably suggest obviously the last hour of the event, but certainly I think you can start preparing probably within the last 6 to those pieces. So, that is a ton of things here for the golden age of trade. So I want to close out today's episode because this is the most in-depth guide, the best guide in my opinion, I do have some bias, for the golden age of trade in order for you to get top 1%, and I believe it's achievable by anyone. That is correct. Even newer players, at least you can continue to build up your kingdom and get a good idea of how to do it, and over time, certainly get to that top 1%. Now, we broke down this event. We talked about each of the ways there, goods by sea, railroad, or birds. We talked about preparation between storage and your buildings. We talked about the prioritization in order to maximize your goods. Additionally, unlimited donations, key tips and tricks there, boosters, and when to burst. That is correct. We gave you a ton of material and a ton of things in today's Golden Age of Trade guide. I just want to say thank you, as always, for tuning in. Let me know in the comments what you think. Come swing by the Discord server. Does this work for you? Did I miss something? Was it not fully in depth? Hopefully it was. And if you watched the whole thing, thank you very much. But as always, appreciate your support. Thank you for the likes. Thank you for the subs as we continue to grow this amazing community. We have a ton of CookieRun Kingdom content here on the channel available to you as always, and additionally more coming your way as well. So great ways to stay in touch and stay up to date on all things Cookie Run Kingdom. Until then, we'll see you again soon. Best of luck in the golden age of trade, and I'll see you up there in the top 1%, my friends. Till next time, take care. Mythras out of here.